Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kat, and I usually like to read dark and weird books, and if they are translated or have queer elements, that is even better. Today is the perfect filming day. My daughter went down for a nap, and it is kind of like rainy, misty outside. It's so cozy. I have my favorite tea, and one of my favorite mugs that I have. Isn't this so cute? Oh, it's so cute. It has little flower stuff. And the tea inside is like a black tea that's strawberry jam flavor. So I'm having a great day. I hope you are as well. I wanted to talk about in August, I'm planning to read only Australian literature. So if you don't know, I probably don't sound Australian. I'm not Australian, I am from the US. But many years ago, I moved here with my husband, who is Australian, and our daughter is Australian American. So I think it's really important to read not only globally, but also the country that I'm living in to learn about the Australian experience, since I didn't grow up here, but my daughter is. So today I have my Aussie August TBR. There are 15 books on this list. I'm not gonna read all these books in August. That's crazy, because also I know I will absolutely not only stick to this. I will 100% read outside of this list. But I figured I would include all the 15, and you will have so many more books to learn about from Australian authors. So I scoured my local library and I did some deep searching. They have the best catalog search functions. If you're into that kind of stuff, definitely use your library as a way to find books that you don't even know about, because I typed in Australiana or like Australian author, and then I sorted by, you know how searching works. Anyway, I found some great ones that I'm pretty sure you haven't heard of, because I had never heard of them and I've never heard anyone talk about them. So this list is sorted the least amount of reviews on Goodreads with only 84 to the most, which is only around 7,500 reviews. So even the one that is the most well-known still isn't really that well-known in my opinion. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get into it. So I'm gonna take a sip and let's get started. So first up, I have a dark romance. I think this is the only romance on the list. So we're gonna start off with this one. This is Killer Bones by Cari Silverwood. And it is a dark BDSM romance. It says, my online rants targeted men dealing in the filthiest crimes. I thought I was untouchable until the day I'm dragged before Montez Flores, my worst enemy, and he gives me to a man who is instructed to kill her. The killer man and her are locked in the bottom of a yacht together, and things go from there, and I'm judging he doesn't kill her. So that's that one. Now we are getting into the ones that I found out about from my library. This is Gunflower by Laura Jean McKay, a short story collection. So Laura Jean McKay wrote The Animals in That Country, which is, if you saw my best novels of the year so far video that I think posted last week, that book is my best novel of the year so far. It didn't work for everyone, but it definitely worked for me. So it says, a family of cat farmers gets the chance to set the felines free. A group of chickens tells it like it is. A female crewed ship plows through the patriarchy. A support group finds solace in a world without men. This is a hallucinogenic glimpse of places where dreams subsume reality, where humans behave like animals and animals talk like humans. So it sounds very similar to The Animals in That Country, only in short story form. So I am really looking forward to reading this. Next we have The Great Undoing by Sharlene Allsopp. It says, in a near future, all identity information is encoded in digital language. Nations know where everyone is all the time. Not everyone agrees with this constant surveillance, and when the system is hijacked and shut down, all global borders are closed. The world is no longer connected, and there is no backup plan to establish belonging, ownership, or trade. Scarlet Friday, whose job is to correct historical record, is stranded on the wrong side of the globe. Befriended by a stranger, she grabs an old faded history book and writes her own version, Over the Top, a record of the Great Undoing on the run. But in deciding what truth to tell, Scarlet must face her own history. How do we navigate identity when it is all a lie? She must reckon with her past before she can imagine the future. So this sounds great. I love a post-apocalyptic or dystopian with a strong female voice, especially if it's a survival story. So I'm really looking forward to this. Next is the only one on here that I think is nonfiction, yes. And this won't be for everyone, but about once a month I read a parenting or motherhood book because my one area of interest for nonfiction right now is motherhood. I'm kind of obsessed with parenting books. So if you have any good ones, let me know down below. I know it's not what my channel's about, but I do read them. So this is Graft, Motherhood, Family in a Year on the Land by Maggie Mackellar. And this really got my interest because they live on a merino wool farm on the east coast of Tasmania. And she grows with the land and she's raising her family there, and she talks about like the life cycle of life and death and spring and winter, and all set in like this rugged Tasmanian area. And I've never been to Tasmania. I'm very interested in motherhood, and yeah, so I just think this sounds great. It has really high ratings. It has a 4.26 on Goodreads, so a bit not what my channel's about, but it's intriguing to me as a mom. Next we have one that was recommended by Avi at Avi Club. This is West Girls by Laura Elizabeth Woollett, and I realized that I had read from this author before. The name sounded so similar. This is so random, but for our wedding, which we had in Melbourne, we rented a really beautiful Airbnb, and they had a stack of like coffee table books. And because we were here for a week as we were prepping for our wedding, I read, I think it's Such Bad Men, or For the Love of a Bad Man, and it's about the women who dated historically awful men. Like, we're talking like people who dated Hitler, people who dated Mussolini, like people who, you know what I mean? Like, and it's kind of reframing it through their point of view. And I just thought the take was so interesting. And speaking of unlikable characters, Avi said that this one follows really unlikable characters, but it makes their tale so interesting. So it says, I chose the jagged rocks, the broken bones, the spattered brains. I chose beauty, I'd choose it again. Luna Lewis is white, but her friends aren't. Nor are her brothers, nor are her one-time Princess of Indonesia finalist stepmother. After transforming from pudgy preteen to exotic beauty, Luna reinvents herself as Luna Lu and takes her ticket out of the most isolated city on Earth. However, as her international modeling career approaches its expiry date, Luna must grapple with what she's sacrificed and who she's become in her mission to conquer the world. So I'm quite looking forward to this. I'm intrigued because it comes so highly recommended. I believe that this was one of the top 2 that Avi has read so far this year. So I'm keen to give it a go and see what I think. Next up we have Fauna by Donna Mazza, which is an awesome name. This says, set 17 years into a very recognizable future, Fauna is an astonishing psychological drama with an incredible twist. What if the child you are carrying is not entirely human? Using DNA technology, scientists have started to reverse the extinction of creatures like the mammoth and the Tasmanian tiger. The benefits of this radical approach could be far-reaching. But how far will they go? Longing for another child, Stacy is recruited by a company who offer massive incentives for her to join an experimental program called Lifeblood. As part of the agreement, she and her husband's embryo will be blended with edited cells. Just how edited, she doesn't know, nor does she have any idea for how much longer her longed-for new daughter will change her life and that of her family, or how hard she will have to fight to protect her. Sounds great, exactly up my alley. I definitely could not have read this when I was pregnant or newly having given birth to my daughter. Now she is 2.5, so I'm not scared of pregnancy dystopias anymore. And in fact, I find reproductive dystopias really fascinating. I might do a 5 specific book recs on that coming up. I'm actually hoping to film 2 today about dark sad girl recs and dark sad boy recs. So, because you always see people talk about sad girls, but there's tons of sad boys out there. Yeah, anyway, that's that one. And then after that, we have Unsheltered by Clare Moleta. Against a background of social breakdown and destructive weather, Unsheltered tells the story of a woman's search for her daughter. Lee never wanted to bring a child into the world, but now that 8-year-old Maddie is missing, she will stop at nothing to find her. As she crosses the great barren country alone and on foot, living on what she can find and fueled by visions of her daughter just out of sight ahead, she will have every instinct tested. She knows the odds against her, an uncompromising landscape, an uncaring system, time running out, and the risks of any encounters on the road. But her own failings and uncertainty might be the greatest obstacle of all, because even if she finds her, how can she hope to shield Maddie from the future? Oof, okay. Honestly, I didn't realize that the daughter was so young. I thought she was going to be a teenager. I'll definitely pick it up because it's at my library. I can request it, but I don't know if it'll be too young. I don't like to read books where young children are in danger because I also have a young daughter. So we'll see. We'll see. Sometimes the age is good. Sometimes the age is okay, and sometimes it freaks me out. So we'll see about that one. Next up, I have Beware of Dogs by Elizabeth Flann. It says, so begins the field diary of Alex, whose impulsive acceptance of an offer to spend Easter on a remote island has turned into a terrifying ordeal. Hiding in a tiny cave, she carefully rations out her meager supplies while desperately trying to figure out how to escape the men hunting her. So, yeah, this I found in an op shop and it immediately got my attention. A female survival story set on an island surrounded by water, because that's what an island is. I'm very excited. Next, I have one that I'm planning to read this month for July for the yellow cover challenge. If I don't, then I will just shift it to Aussie August. This is What I Would Do to You by Georgia Harper. This is set in a near future Australia. The death penalty is back, but if the victim's family wants the perpetrator to die, they have to do it themselves. 24 hours alone in a room with the condemned. No cameras, no microphones, just whatever punishment they decide befits the crime. Wow. I am planning to pick this up after I'm reading 4 books right now, all at the same time, and I think when I finish one of them, this will be the next one I pick up. So hopefully this will be in July, but if not, it'll be in August. I also have Shelter by Catherine Jinks. This is the last book that I bought at an op shop a few days ago. It says, Meg lives alone, a little place in the bush outside town, a perfect place to hide. That's one reason she offers to shelter a stranger on the run from a violent husband. The other is that Meg knows what it's like to live with an abusive partner. Noreen and her 2 little girls are jumpy, but Meg assumes that they're safe now. Then she starts to notice things. Objects disturbed, strange noises in the night. Has Noreen's ex tracked her down, or has Meg's husband come back to torment her some more? By the time she finds out, it'll be too late. She'll be running for her life. So, we'll see how this goes. This does not have great reviews online, but it's worth a try. It's from Tilted Access Press, and I usually like the stuff that they put out. All right, next is one of my favorite covers of this list. It's I'd Rather Not by Robert Skinner. Tell me that's not a hilarious cover. This says, oh, it's a memoir. I didn't realize that, or maybe I did, but it says, comes an original and utterly hilarious memoir of reaching for the stars while lying in a ditch, which, what a vibe. Robert Skinner arrives in the city, searching for a richer life. Things begin badly and then surprisingly get slightly worse. Pretty soon he's sleeping rough and trying to run a literary magazine out of a dog park. His quest for meaning keeps being thwarted by gainful employment, beagles, house parties, ill-advised love affairs, camel trips, and bureaucratic entanglements. I'd Rather Not is a deeply funny book of light and shade, triumph and misadventure, where the wisdom is hard won and promptly forgotten. Yeah, I think I'll either love it or like immediately DNF it. All right, and next we have Pheasants Nest by Louise Milligan. Kate Delaney has made the biggest mistake of her life. She picked the wrong guy to humiliate on a girls' night out, and now she is living every woman's worst nightmare. She finds herself brutalized, bound, and gagged in the back of a car being driven God knows where by a man whose name she doesn't know, and she is petrified about what's in store for her. She can only hope the police will find her before it's too late, but she's aware a random crime is hardest to solve. And the last 3 most reviewed ones are all ones I already own, which is surprising. So this is Dark Mode by Ashley Kalagian-Blunt. This was on my July as well for dark, but I managed to find another book that had a color in the title, so I can shift this to August. It says, for years, Regan Carson has kept her life offline, No socials, no internet presence, no photos, safe. Until the day she stumbles on a shocking murder in a Sydney laneway. The victim looks just like her. Coincidence? As more murders shake the city and she's increasingly drawn out from hiding, Regan is forced to confront her greatest fear. She has been found. This is a riveting psychological thriller. So this one, I think the author lives in Australia, but she is not Australian, but it's also set in Australia. So I'm willing to put it into August. We also have Past the Shallows by Favel Parrett. And this has 3 brothers who are being raised by their violent and unpredictable father, who is an oyster diver off the Tasmanian coast. So I've heard that it's really beautiful nature writing set in Tasmania, which I'm really interested in. And I do believe that this is read in schools in Australia, and it's also won a lot of awards. Yeah, so I'm very interested in this one. Also like the ocean setting and the ocean vibes, very interested. So the last one is by Sofie Laguna. This is Eye of the Sheep. And the reason I haven't picked this up, I have owned this for years, is because I think I'm gonna cry big fat tears. Because I read something else by her and it really stuck with me and got me. I wanna say it's The Choke. In fact, I know it's The Choke. This says, meet Jimmy Flick. He's not like other kids. He's both too fast and too slow. He sees too much and too little. Jimmy's mother, Paula, is the only one who can manage him. She teaches him how to count sheep so that he can fall asleep. She holds him tight enough to stop his cells spinning. It is only Paula who can keep Jimmy out of his father's way. But when Jimmy's world falls apart, he has to navigate the unfathomable world on his own and make things right. I want to read it because of the author, and I just really love her writing style. It's very evocative and empathetic to her characters. And yeah, this is the most reviewed one on the list. It's won an award in 2015, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So those are all the Australian books that are on my Australian August TBR, and I will just pick and choose whichever ones come in from the library and that most interest me in the moment. And I'm not gonna lie, I will absolutely be reading stuff outside of the list because I've never been able to make a TBR and read only those. I don't think that's possible. Yeah, so I'm very excited about it. Let me know if you have any Australian authors that you would recommend, or any of these books which now you want to read. And I will see you in another video soon. Lots of love. Bye.